Hello, we're live again. We're with another talk from Julius Kirscheneder. He's from Neon and he will talk about fast growth, low cost Swiss real life example. Stage is all yours, Julius.
Thank you, Pascal. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we've got 15 minutes to explore a topic that I thought should be interesting for everyone, being it a startup, but also a grown-up company. It's about how to grow favorably fast, but especially also at low cost at the same time. And we'll use Neon. That's what I have. We're a Swiss startup as an example and how we did it and what challenges we faced. But you might feel like you've seen and heard that before. And for us, it was really, and still is, about two areas of challenges. The one is a startup, especially when you talk about growth, you have to come through one challenge, that you don't have established channels, you don't have an established brand, but you have to grow X factor, being it 10 times, 4 times, 2 times, whatever you can achieve. Without the base, so to say. And the second challenge is, as a startup, obviously, you usually don't have money. And we have a positioning with a very low price and a low cost business model behind it. So we have even less money, and we have to spend less money than our competition. So less money that you want to spend, but you have to grow faster. And those are the questions that you get right from the start. For us in the financing rounds, for you might be board meetings. It's like, how do you get the first 1,000 customers at this low cost? And when you have it, it's like, okay, that was easy. That was family and friends. But what about the next 10,000? And once you have it, it's easy again, because of course it's the early adopters. But when you have those, it's the next question about what about the 50,000? And the good news for our side was we have more than 40,000 users now, aiming to reach 50,000 by the end of the year. So the first 3 hurdles are taken, and at the same time, we've managed to keep the cost really at a low level that's much lower than that of classic competition. We usually pay 200 to 300 francs for new bank customers, whereas we in the area of 40 to 50. And when I'm talking about customer acquisition costs, I'm talking about the marketing spend here, including all agency fees, commissions, etc. So how did we do it? How did we come that far? What did we do? The first thing that might sound obvious somehow, but is maybe the most difficult, is really to have tangible USPs, have something that differentiates you, and be able to prove it or make it visible for the user and the customers. For us, it was based on why we founded Neon and what we wanted to change in the Swiss banking industry. On the one hand side, those were the fees that were usual here, very high fees, and fees that were not necessary anymore in our view nowadays. And not only the height of the fees, but also the transparency of the fees. So we created a very simple pricing scheme, and you could tell from the start there's no base fees, no lock-in fees, as I'd call it. And if you take our MasterCard, for example, and pay abroad, you go to France shopping, there's no markup on the exchange rate or any fees on top of it. So it's very easy to see that there's a difference. Second dimension is the product. It's the modern UX, the product itself. So it's a 100% mobile focused product. It's an app that you use to steer your account and your payments with. And we try to keep it very simple. And it was also quite easy to see from the start that something different, paperless. That was the first paperless account opening that we created 2 years ago. So also there you could see simply that there's something different. And thirdly, it's important for us to be Swiss, offer a Swiss IBAN, but also know the Swiss payment market and things like e-bill, and have a Swiss bank protection, because there's international competition that also has good but international products. When we had the USPs, second thing is then you have to somehow transport them, and we tried and like it in a way that we are. So being authentic, we feel well in the role as banking challenger, and we try to also transport that in the way we communicate. So it's a very direct communication. We love to address pain points of our competitors. You can see some examples on the launch campaign on the left side with the neon finger, but also the price leadership campaign that we have, where we really put the stamp on what we thought was not transparent communication. And we also use do instead of see. So this sounds not too new, but is new in the banking industry. We admit mistakes if we make them and things like that, and just try to be friendly as well. That strikes some of our users new when they see that. And we try to do this kind of communication and transport these messages across different kind of channels. We use quite a broad range, so coming from PR, of course, using our customer base, the referrals, but also all types of paid media. And what might be a bit different to other banks, also a lot of different types of partners. And depending on the cost that you have per channel and the mix that you are able to get in these channels, in the end, that's what made the growth possible, but also made the cost level possible. When I talk about the main channel, that's PR. It might not surprise you, or it's organic traffic. 40% of our users really come from that, and that's driven a lot from space that we get in media. And we're very grateful for that and working for that to try to have some serious content and use media to spread it. You can see some nice examples here. I like the one on the left best. It's from our launch campaign. It shows the neon finger again, the emotion that we have when we started to change the banking industry here. But of course, it also made a good story at that time and even pushed, you can see it a bit on the bottom, Theresa May and the Brexit to the second row of the top news on the day of our launch. Also important, in the bottom, you can see Kassensturz, a very known format in Switzerland, but that gave us the credibility. It was a product test of different bank accounts and especially the pricing, the card pricing, and they calculated and proved it that we were by far the most affordable offer, and that gave us a lot of credibility, but also a lot of reach. And last but not least, here in the middle, also very nice, the picture from the TV show of the Höhle der Löwen, Lion's Den, which of course is on the one hand side a bit of show and PR effect. You address a audience that's interested in startups, but also it has a quite nice part of it with a collaboration with Bettina here and Roland and the Tobias and who invested in Neon, and we're still continuously working with them on different levels. So it was more than just PR at the time. Second channel it's important is our community. So 25% of our users so far have come through referrals, word of mouth, however you want to call it. And that's really a difficult one, but also a very powerful one again. Difficult in the sense that you cannot steer it. You have to lay the base, the foundation with a good product and a good communication with the customers. And only if they're satisfied and really see something new in it, they will convey the message and tell their friends. But if they do, of course, you can foster it a bit with structures, like you can see on the left-hand side, the screenshot. We have an incentive program, and the incentive might not be really high, 10 francs for a new account, but it still works, I can tell you. And also the code here, if you don't have a Neon account yet, you can use that code to get, it's my code, to get 10 francs starter credit and a free card. But getting back to the referral channel, it's really powerful because people who tell their friends have a trusted message, and that's really much easier to convince, of course, new people, other than if the company says, hey, we are cheaper, we are better, we are whatever. If it's your friends that confirm it, that's the most powerful thing you can have. The third big channel is big area is partners, and that's maybe a bit different to others as well. We're trying to use all different types of partners because they offer us, if they fit to Neon and our product, a very good access to new customer user segments that you might not reach otherwise. And you're usually able to convey your product advantages quite well. And at the same time, it's rather risk-free. I would say it's rather good to estimate the cost of these partnerships and channels. So it's a rather risk-free way of growing. Of course, you have to put quite some effort in it, but it's worth it. And you can see some examples here. Coca, for example, is a deal platform. I think we were the first financial product ever on there. And we created a deal, which is not so easy for a free product, by having a voucher with a starter credit. And that worked really, really, really well. Zurich Open Air is another example, different area, more lifestyle. And we tried to make people experience the advantages of Neon. If you paid with the Neon card at the festival, you got 1 franc off every beverage. That were quite some for some people. But we also work with maybe more classic partners, content comparison platform. Hello to our friends from Monito here. And Smile Direct on the bottom right is an example of a product partner where the audiences and the product fit really well. And that also gives you very good and easy cross-traffic. Last but not least, we of course use paid media, and especially helpful for bolstering and fueling messages, big messages that you have. So for example, for the launch campaign, of course, we used all different type of media, offline and online, but also for the price leadership campaign. And that was really helpful, of course, also supported by performance media. But you have to be able to afford it. I usually calculate with an average of 400 francs customer acquisition costs here, direct, so to say, effect from these campaigns. So you can tell from the different examples also that I put on here that for us at least, the average acquisition costs were much higher. Still, it was a very good supplement for the other initiatives that we had. So all in all, it might now not strike you news, but it still worked for us. Start with PR, use as much media space as you can, have a serious message, serious content, then it might work if it's an interesting story. Support that with media campaigns on the right spots. And then use partnerships of all different kinds, be creative here. That's rather a low-risk way of growing and expanding. And finally, of course, never neglect your customer base, as they will be the base for future growth. Yeah, and that's basically it. I mean, as simple as that. Maybe one more thing. It's always also good to seize opportunities. If you, for example, talk in front of large audiences or be at events, never be shy to spread the word. So we have something new and cool here called Neon Green. If you think mobile and have a green heart and are interested in sustainable banking, have a look at Neon Green. We're just running a crowdfunding campaign on wemakeit.ch, or you will find it on our website. Feel free to join us there. Thanks.
Really cool. Thanks, Julius, for presenting us your insights. There have actually been a couple of questions. One was asked at the very beginning of the presentation. I think it might have been answered with future slides, but regarding customer acquisition costs, if sign-up costs like KYC, etc., are integrated in your CAC numbers, or if it's only marketing.
That was only marketing, so it does not include the cost for card production, distribution, or the KYC process.
All right. And then the next question is if big banks already recognize Neon as a competition already.
Yeah, finally, I would say. There was a one check mark from this year. So after 2 years after the start, in the beginning, it was more like, I'd call it silence and ignorance somehow. But this year, I mean, you've seen some effects, and we're quite proud that we at least changed something in the Swiss banking world. And now you find us mentioned as a reason why new banking products are launched or have been launched. And that's really cool.
All right. There is one question from Diana. If you have reached other customer groups besides the ones you have targeted, or if there were any surprises in your growth, for example, users outside of the targeted group?
Yes and no. Our target group is quite broad, so between 25 and 50 people who know that, who are not students anymore or pupils, so they know that there's quite a high price for banking products. On the other hand, they don't have much time and are used to apps as digital tools. And this is the vast majority of the customers that we have. And with most campaigns, we've really gained a lot of customers there. Two exceptions, of course, you can see some specificities in different communications. If I take Kassensturz, for example, you could tell that the audience is a bit older. So we got many more older users. If you, for example, take the partnership with Zurich Open Air, you could see that the audience was more female than for the others. Yeah, so you see some effects there, but in general, it's really in the target group.
All right. I think we have time for another question. Matthias asks if you will remain simple, in quotes, account banking, or if you will spread out to investment products.
Both. I mean, our goal is really to stay simple and have a really good Alltagskonto, so day-to-day bank account and bank experience. But of course, there are user needs for investment, Säule 3a, etc. And we try to work with partners. So also here, build some kind of ecosystem to be really able to offer the best products available and not to have to build something yourself and then try to compete on different areas where it's hard to compete. So we try to really focus on our core product, but complement it with really good and fitting partner products.
All right. I think we have one last question. I think you can squeeze it in half a minute answer. Kevin asks, basically, in the future, how will you earn money if everything you do is free?
Yeah, it's always a good question. 3 different revenue streams. So one is card usage for us is one revenue stream that's important. If you use the card, we get interchange. So there is money coming back. It's just not paid, so to say, by the customer or the user directly, but indirectly from merchants that offer credit card payments. Second one is we do have some sources of revenue also in the very lean pricing scheme. For example, when you do payments to other countries, use our partnership with TransferWise to transfer money to Germany, there's a very low markup on there. And thirdly, also through the cooperation with partners on the product side, we do get some money, of course, from those partners. For example, for investment products.
All right, great. I think that sums it up perfectly. We're also in time. Then thanks again, Julius, for presenting. Up next coming is another tech talk from Saba Svedova, and we will be back in 5 minutes.